Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Jasmina from Jasmina Brunswick Astrology. And today I have a special astrologer mom. And we're going to talk about how astrology helped us with parenting. So, Brielle, welcome. Thank you for joining. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. I was inspired with being a mom of a toddler and using astrology with in my parenting him really helped me to understand my child, his emotional needs, how he does everything. Brielle is from a Light Space Collective, right? If I'm not wrong. So before we start digging deeper into our experience with mothers and how we use astrology in our parenting, tell us more about you. Where are you coming from? What is your astrology story, a background?
Yes, so I am just outside of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania, and I have been practicing. I've really been interested in astrology my entire life, but officially, professionally practicing since 2020 over the pandemic. And I practice spiritual astrology. So I come at it through the lens of personal development. How can it support us in being our best selves? And also looking at the default energy that we bring into this life through past lives.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I love that. Yes. So how can we change that? How can we set the course straight, or redefine our purpose, right? With not carrying the burden from the past lives. I like
Exactly.
that. Oh, I love that. Awesome. Cool. First of all, tell me about your kids. So how old are they, and how, and your placements and their placements, and then we can just start with that.
Yeah, I have a 2-year-old and a 2-month-old. Yeah, so
Oh
it
my
is
God.
wild over here.
Mm-hmm.
And to be completely honest, I have not even looked at my 2-month-old's chart yet. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like, in these early
Yeah.
days, where it's
Yeah.
like I can't even see straight. And but he's a Pisces. I have a sweet little Pisces boy, and my 2-year-old is an Aries.
Oh, okay. So what are your big threes, if I may ask?
Yeah, my big three. I'm a Virgo sun, Cancer moon, Scorpio rising. And my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
she is an Aries sun, or a Capricorn moon, and a Sagittarius rising.
Very nice. Okay.
What about
So
you?
I'm a Gemini Sun, Gemini Moon, and Virgo Rising. So very mercurial. And my boy is also Gemini Sun, but he's a Leo Rising and has a Scorpio Moon.
Ooh.
So yeah. So imagine, thank God I know astrology, because my Gemini Moon and his Scorpio Moon they have completely different needs, emotional needs, and how we soothe ourselves, how what makes us feel safe and secure.
Mhm.
Yeah, in general, when looking at kids charts, as you mentioned, I also don't look at any forecasting. What interests me is just to see the moon, sun, ascendant, like the big threes, and a Mercury, just to see what are the learning abilities, the skills, and how what is the best way to help him learn the way he can understand learning.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's my experience from but many parents come to me. Oh, what is this? Is he going to have money? Is this my kid? I don't talk about that, because that's not the whole point of the chart, right? We all evolve through our decisions and experiences in a different way, right? We do our charts differently, so depends on many things, right?
Yeah, and I
So
also
what?
like to
Yeah.
look at
Mhm.
Mars.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Okay. So
Mars
why
and
so?
how
Tell me why. Hmm.
Yeah, Mars and how we assert ourselves. Like when
Mm.
things get a little heated, usually Mars comes through, and yeah, that's really helped me in learning how to interact with my daughter already as a 2. We're in terrible 2s, so it's
Mm.
like Mars all the way.
Oh yes, yes, I remember those. Yes. So I forgot to mention my son is 4 tomorrow. So he's a little bit more serious, but he has like a full sixth house of Virgo house, so he's very detail oriented, and he's very neat, and anyway, he's just it's funny how you now see the personalities when they're a little bit kind of older. You kind of you see them with 2 as well. I remember they come
Yeah,
easy, yeah, right? They come early, the personality traits.
yeah, I would say it was shortly after she turned 1 where I really started
Mm,
digging into her chart and like, okay, how do I support her growth now and how do I help her
mm.
learn and yeah, support her versus maybe not knowing that I'm actually like pushing against something that she's supposed to be living into and expressing.
So, okay, so you're a Cancer moon, as I remember correctly, and she is, what did you say? I forgot. What is she?
Capricorn.
Okay, so you have like opposite
Literal
moons. Okay,
opposites. Yeah.
yes. So what did you? How do you? What was your experience with that?
Yeah, so something that I've been more aware of with my Cancer moon is like I love talking about feelings. Like if I could express myself with like just sending you a vibe, that I would love that. Uh, and my daughter as a Capricorn moon, she is, and I'm sure will continue to be very
Mm,
direct, very to the point. Like if she's upset, yes, I can like hug her a little bit and then she's like off to the next thing. So if I, as my Cancer moon, was just like
mm,
smothering her, it could be, it could have a negative impact to our
mm.
relationship, or it could have a negative impact to her moon and how she processes her emotions. So we'll
Yeah,
see how
that
it continues to play out.
I know, but isn't this amazing that you are aware? This is the whole point of astrology for me is that we are raising awareness, and then it's a tool that helps us really with it's so much with stuff. So with my experience, I have a Gemini moon. I really like to talk about everything that happened to me of every day. If when I'm sad or when I'm happy or excited, I want to share it. If I don't share it with the people I love, it didn't happen, right? But my son with a Scorpio moon, mm-mm, so when he's upset or comes from the daycare or something, and I'm like, oh, what happened? Tell me. Mommy, stop talking. Like literally, mommy, stop talking. So he needs his time to process what has happened, okay, internally. And then when he's ready and when he feels that he is in a safe place, and if he really wants to share what happened, then he eventually will say something. But mostly he will not speak. So I had to learn the nonverbal language from him, really looking at him, why is he acting like this now? What is he digging? I had to be the researcher and investigator and digging deep, understanding the Scorpio moon, right? Because they're just, they need environment to be safe and secure and very trustworthy environment to even say something, even at this early age. So as he develops, I guess when he's going to be a teenager, I don't know.
I know, right? I know.
But what is important for me is that by the time he becomes a teenager, that he knows that he can trust me and that I'm on his side. So that's with the Scorpio moon. That's what I feel is the most important, and I'm a support in the way. So I don't ask him anymore. Although I'm so curious, I want to know what happened at daycare. Like what? I don't ask anymore. He will tell me what he wants to share with me. So, it is, I would be so frustrated if I didn't know this astrology. I would be very
Yes.
frustrated, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then you end up butting heads or like pushing and yeah. So
Yeah.
astrology is definitely already in my 2 years of parenting has yeah, really had a positive impact on me and my daughter. So
That's
very, very
amazing.
grateful to have the information.
So how is, for example, so I would want to ask many astrologers, their spouses and partners usually are not into astrology. So how this astrology thing works with your partner and your family? How does that work?
Yeah. My husband isn't really into it. He entertains me like talking about it and sharing, and he appreciates the bits of information that I bring. So I'm a Virgo sun
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
he's a Pisces. So we're opposites.
Mm,
And my son
okay.
is a Pisces. So yeah, there are so many things within our charts where I'm like, wow, we are all meant to be together. Like my
Yeah.
children
Yeah.
have come into our lives, like they're meant to teach me, like
Hmm.
and vice versa. So that's really neat. But in terms of how we parent, I feel like I'll say things like, well, she's an Aries. Or like, she
Yeah,
has a lot of energy. She's running around.
yeah,
She's
yeah,
an
yeah.
Aries. So it just almost, I don't know if he would admit this, but also helps him to realize, like, okay,
Absolutely.
this is her.
No, no, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. That is a support. So, because that's the same thing is with me. I like the word he entertains me and supports me. I like that entertain. Yeah, yeah, I like that word. Yeah, because the whole point is they don't have to be astrologers, but as long as they're here to support you, your input and what we have to say about it, and accepting it. Um, Both my husband and my son are actually Geminis with Leo risings and Mars in Pisces. So they have both those three. There's
Mm.
three because you mentioned Mars, that you use Mars. So it's my Mars in Leo and their Mars in Pisces.
Wow.
Anyway, there is a lot of there is a lot of a lot of things that we are learning from each other, and how we act and react and all this stuff. But just knowing that imagine it's a funny thing. When we go somewhere, it takes them so much time, because I'm like already dressed, let's go in the car, and they're like, they're still playing, hugging, whatever. I'm like, oh. So I need to, like, yes, this is the Mars in Pisces, goes with the flow, I'm not supposed to push.
And it's interesting to see how
Yeah.
that shows up within yourself, right? Of
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm feeling whatever you feel, anxious or triggered
Yeah.
or yeah,
Yeah.
frustrated. It's like, okay, this is why, and what do I
Yeah.
need in this moment? Is it, do I voice it? Do I just go and say, all right, meet you whenever you're ready? But
So
yeah.
yeah, so I'm trying to find the right expression, not to be pushy, but also to kind of be assertive and kind of push them into my direction, like, just let's go. But
Please, please, let's go.
I know. So yeah, Mars is interesting. Mars is important, and as you mentioned, many things repeat. So and you probably are you looking at nodes when you look at past lives? You probably look at lunar nodes, right? It's a
Mhm.
very important part of your practice, I would
Yeah.
assume, right?
Yeah, that's interesting because my daughter, her south node, so the energy she brought into this
Mm-hmm.
lifetime is Scorpio,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a Scorpio rising. So that's an interesting relationship of like she has the Scorpio-ness as her default, and I'm trying to rise into that. So I'm interested to see as she gets older. There's, yeah, it feels very karmic and very intentional that we're in this relationship and in this partnership to learn from each
Yeah,
other.
yeah, yeah. You probably looked at your parents, because the moon, when I look at somebody's chart, some child's chart, I always look at I want to know the parents' chart as well, so to see
Mhm.
how the child perceives you. So I'm thinking your daughter has a
Mhm.
Capricorn moon. She's gonna probably perceive you as a hardworking mother, which is okay. My kid with Scorpio moon is gonna also probably think that I'm cuckoo mom, well, which is okay, which probably I am in a sense, right?
As an
Uh,
astrologer, I feel like
yeah. Well, I'm trying not to just smother him in a way, or to be overly possessive. I'm truly trying to give him freedom, because I want him to see the good Scorpio side in me, not the bad. Like, I'm trying to know what is good within Scorpio. What is Scorpio? I mean, with all my Gemini energy, Scorpio is intercepted, which means, for you who don't know it, it's like kind of, there's nothing in common. We don't have the same element, not the same mode, not the same polarity. So it's like there's nothing in common with Gemini and Scorpio. So they really have hard to understand each other. So they need a lot of adjustment to, like Gemini is very superficial, can be superficial, quick, just on the surface, and Scorpio is very deep, and wants to understand, what's at the deepest depths of the world, right? So um, I'm trying to get the best out of Scorpio. Uh, I'm thinking, how can I give him the best Scorpio moon? mom. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my thought. I'm just kind of, I don't want to give him the obsessive, possessive, intense mom who is very, but a
Mhm.
different kind.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
a
don't know.
good that's a
Yeah.
good call out too of, yeah, how will our children perceive us through through their moon? Um,
Yeah.
and it's sometimes I feel myself getting frustrated because it's like, well,
Mm.
no, that's not me. I don't want to be that.
Uh, yes, but think about good qualities
Yeah.
of a Capricorn. You can give her structure and healthy boundaries that every kid needs.
Mhm.
So I like
True.
that. Like it's we need to. That's what I'm saying. We need to focus on. We tend to feel. We tend to think about the worst things at first. Like, oh my God, it's just in a human nature. Like,
True.
but then let's focus on a good one and implement good things.
Yeah. Yeah. Being
So
intentional.
yeah, be intentional. And I'm saying Capricorns have so many great qualities, although they're also intercepted with me. So Scorpios and Capricorns are for me are like the two sides that are like I really have struggled in my youth, especially.
Mm.
Um, but life gave me so many Capricorns and Scorpions, especially as my managers through my life. There were like
Oh,
90% were either Capricorn or Scorpio.
isn't that funny? I'm
So
sure
so
that you learned a lot about yourself and also them through that.
yeah,
But I always think of interceptions as your blind spots. So
yeah.
it's like if you're driving and it's just like you don't see, you don't hear.
Yeah, but it's so you need to be more aware because it can just come and just and surprise you in a way that you don't want to be surprised. So right.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
I forgot to mention in the beginning because we're talking astrology. For you who don't know why we talk about moon a lot, because moon in some of us chart represents our emotional needs, the way we feel secure, our emotional security and safety, how we nurture ourselves, and also presents our mothers. So that's why your relationship with your mother usually is seen through the sign of moon sign. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. It's like an important part of people to
Good
understand
call.
what are we talking about. Yeah. Yeah. So also, did you maybe when you start digging deeper into astrology, did you look at your mom's chart and how did you see her? Did because you have a Cancer moon, was she caring like your Cancer moon? Was she really Cancer like mom for you? Did you feel nurtured?
Yeah, it's interesting because growing up, yes, I feel like my mother was very caring and nurturing, but I also feel like I was a daddy's girl through and through.
uh,
So I see both where it's
Interesting.
the moon could represent the mom or it could be like the caring, nurturing person in your
Parent,
life.
yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I could
Yes.
see both sides, but my like most vivid memories are like with my dad being a daddy's girl, and I'm sure my mom is the sweetest, most caring human as well. I just don't have those vivid memories, which also is another
Interesting.
thing about being a mom is us often we're forgotten or we're not in the pictures or you know
Yeah,
we're
because
behind.
yeah, yeah, so many obligations, everyday life, and then just yeah, you're not seen. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, but it's a good point to reflect. When especially for you guys who become for first time parents. It's astrology. I find it very helpful to reflect on how my mom was. How I saw my mom. With my Gemini moon, my mom was very popular. Like my mom had multiple friends. Like she passed away a long time ago, but when she was so popular, she had like I don't know. I always remember my first childhood memories is mom with her friends. I still, although she's passed away, I still have contacts with her friends. They still like after
Yeah.
23 years, I still have her friends in
Oh,
my life. It's amazing.
oh, yeah,
Like
that
she,
is.
she was really Gemini like although she was Cancer and she had a Sag moon and Virgo rising, she was so Gemini in the world, like people perceive she was very so that's interesting, to
Wow.
see how I saw my mom, and I did see her as somebody who was smart and friendly, and she was more of a friend. in that sense. So yeah,
Mm.
that's interesting to see that. I
Yeah.
could reflect
Yeah,
on that part
definitely.
as well.
And even thinking about my Cancer moon, my mom was at home with me. So I feel like
Ah,
that's
mm,
probably where like
the
that
Cancer part comes in.
yeah.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can see. Yes, that's why it manifested in that way.
Yeah.
That's also
Definitely.
interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, my mom was. They were. They were. My mom and dad both. They were just. But my mom more. She would just go out a lot. Like she had her friends, and they would go here, and they would go. She was really. They. She
She
was
had things
really.
to do.
She did her. They have like a birthdays. I know that they every. She had like 10 of them, and they will always meet up for birthdays. Go somewhere like a girls thing. Like I never had those kind of friendships in my
Mm.
life, so I always thought, anyway, it's interesting. I'm I'm changing the subject as a true
No.
Gemini.
No, it is it's interesting though. It's interesting to have those insights,
Yeah, yeah.
especially looking back.
So let's just a little bit, because I don't want dads to feel they're not appreciated, because they are appreciated as a parent. And so I know, because we looked at the moon for a kid, because we want to see how they want to be nurtured. So whoever it can be, grandparents, parents, whoever. It's good for everybody who is in contact with that kid to understand their needs and how to approach
Mm.
him or them. I mean, so what else? So that's why in that sense fathers are also important, but to understand the needs of a kid, how kid perceives a father would be through sun usually. Or Saturn. It could be Saturn. I find that Saturn is also. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I'm thinking. Do you think it's more Sun or Saturn that
Yeah.
figure?
Well, just looking at so my daughter's Saturn is Aquarius. And I
Hmm.
feel like sun in this instance is more accurate. Normally, yes, I would look at Saturn. And that also could be true. And it'll be interesting when she gets a little bit older to like ask her the questions to then put the pieces together of which is accurate. But yeah, my husband, he is definitely a go-getter, always going, very passionate about what he does. He
Hmm.
loves his work. So I feel like
Hmm.
Aries, her son. What about you?
So I don't know. Since we are all Geminis, so Sun is Gemini, so it could be like like father, like son in this case. And my son has he has Saturn also in Aquarius. He was born in 2020, just when Saturn was first degree of
Mm.
Aquarius. Um, and my husband is in technology and stuff like that, so you can he's a developer and he's really into AI and all this stuff what is going on. So
Oh.
maybe that's how he can perceive him. I don't know. It can be. It's in the sixth house. I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see how it goes. It can be both ways. Yeah.
Yeah, very
Um,
true.
yeah. I'm also wondering in our charts how we in our charts we can see how our kids are going to be and what kind of mothers are we going to be. So where do you look in the chart for that? Like the vice versa, not kids chart to look at the parent, but the
Mm.
parents chart to look at the kid. Oops.
That's a good one. Definitely fifth house.
Yeah, and the ruler. What is in the fifth house and the ruler?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you have? What do you have? Do you have anything? I have
That is,
nothing in the fifth house.
yeah, I don't either. Let me
And
pull up.
yeah, yeah, I can. Well, I have Juno, which is asteroid of commitments and relationships and partnerships, which is okay. It's in Aquarius, so my husband is a developer, if that makes any sense, and when he's into the technology.
Yeah.
Um, and then the ruler is Saturn or Uranus, if you look at the modern rulership.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
so yeah.
I
Hmm.
I have nothing in the fifth house and I have Pisces, which is funny.
Oh, on the cusp. Hmm.
Yeah.
There you go. Hmm.
Pisces on the cusp, and I feel like
So,
that's very
so So where is your Jupiter or Neptune? That would I would look at that. Where is Jupiter
yeah,
or
my
Neptune?
Neptune is in Capricorn in the third, and my
Hmm.
Jupiter is in Leo in the 10th.
Okay, so there you go. So I'm thinking because the ruler of your fifth is in your tenth, like the traditional ruler, that means that your parenting might be like your kid, like your kid can see you as a working parent because the ruler is in the 10th house. So maybe that's the moon in Capricorn. I'm just making the connections. It can be both
Yeah,
ways, right?
true. That's
Right?
very true. Yeah, my
Right. So
husband and I both work and we own a business together in addition to our full-time jobs, so there's lots of work happening for
oh
us.
yeah. Oh yeah. There you go. Busy. Yeah. So that explains maybe the situation. Yeah. I'm thinking, if you look at Saturn, Saturn is Leo in my 11th house with conjunctions with Mars. So I did have an issue with
Mm,
conceiving.
mm,
Like I did IVF at the end, and I had my child after 40, so it was like a thing. So that could be
mm.
just restriction because Saturn with Mars, there's some kind of restrictions.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, if you look at Uranus, it's in the second in Scorpio. I don't know. It's interesting to see how that goes. I know. I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff. Our moons also tell us about what kind of mothers are we going to be. So your Cancer moon, uh, you know, is telling me that you are a caring mother, nurturing mother, like, oh, you're one of those mothers. Are you hungry? Do you want to eat? Do you have do you have a sweater on? It's cold outside, right? So
Mhm.
that tells me, that's and then the way your kid sees you. um yeah, I mean, I think that who we really are, I think they take it for granted in a sense. They don't. They take it like as it is. Like they take. Probably she takes your nurturing and as a normal thing. But so she probably is
Mhm.
going to see you through something that she doesn't feel that it's maybe as normal or something. Like my son seeing me doing astrology. Like, why is my mom? What is she doing? After when he realizes what is astrology, now he doesn't. But he's,
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see how it goes. Maybe I don't know. I'm just thinking. Can go
Yeah, so
different
you
ways, right?
you said you're a triple Gemini, right?
Yeah, Moon, Mercury, Moon, and Sun, and Virgo rising. Moon, Sun. I have Mercury in Gemini and midheaven, so I think it's in the
Oh,
ninth house. In the ninth
okay.
house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and well, I feel like it's tough when you have the same sign in any of your big three because it's like that's just amplified.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you are aware that your son doesn't necessarily want to be super expressive. So I
Yeah.
wonder how that'll play out since you have that awareness and maybe are like toning down wanting to be like chatty and asking him questions and asking him to express himself if he perceives you in a different way over time.
Yes. So what I'm trying to do now, through because he likes books and stories. So through reading a book, I try to kind of find something else out. Like, this character is doing this. So what do you think? Why or what? I'm trying to kind of
Mm.
I'm trying to get some kind of information from him using the
Yeah.
Gemini wit, to get something through, because he likes those stories. And I'm like, why do you think he does that? Interesting. And what would happen if he didn't, so something like that. So what would you do in that
Smart.
situation?
Smart. No, yeah, using something else
Yeah,
to start conversation versus
yeah,
just wanting to
yeah. And
answer.
just last week, I introduced something new. I thought it was really funny for a Scorpio moon. I told him, oh, do you want to know a secret? And he was like, oh.
That is amazing. That's
and
amazing.
I just said something that wasn't even that important because I don't do secrets. Like I'm like, you see me, what you get is what you see, like kind of a person. But he was like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He was so like I was just testing, does his Scorpio moon love secret? So I guess he does. So I want to bond with him that we have something, just the two of us. Um,
Oh.
like a secret. Like I don't know. I don't want him. I don't want. I just want him to feel that it's something like a special, intimate between the two of us, like a secret we
Mm.
have. So we're going to like
Mhm.
share some information or something that nobody else knows. Like I think it's a way to bond with him. That's what I find. Maybe a
Yeah.
way. I'm also exploring his Scorpio moon. I don't know. I'm trying
Well,
to figure it out.
it sounds like you found a great way to connect. And if
Yeah.
you think about it, like life is hard sometimes and
Yeah.
like the world is constantly like be
Yeah.
this, don't be that. So how special is it to be able to have a parent who you feel fully
Mm,
seen, appreciated, like you can be yourself because
yeah.
it's hard going out into the world. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
definitely
mean, I want to tell everybody we're not perfect. At least I'm not. I can get nervous. I can snap as well. Like life is not just all, glitter and sunshine. It is every day, there's situations where, I don't act as I would like all the time. But, when it's important that we have overall understanding. So I want to mention something else. The ruler of the moon, find it's very important. And
Mm.
um, yeah, so as I mentioned, so the moon in Scorpio for my son, so it's Mars in Pisces, or you look at Pluto in Capricorn.
Mhm.
So usually I look both, but and he has Mars in Pisces in the eighth house. So
Okay.
so there is that depth even more. So it just tells me that this moon is not just Scorpio moon, it's Scorpio moon ruled by the Mars, which can be, if it's not happy, it can be, you can express in a Martian way, like I want it, I want something, or you know understanding that to share things. He's an only child. There's a bunch of stuff that I'm trying to, I just teach him, because I know that his Mars is in the eighth house, and but it's in Pisces, so it's not volatile, but still,
Mhm, mhm,
it's double
mhm,
Scorpio moon. So that's something interesting. And his Mercury. So I want to mention Mercury because it's a great way to understand how your kid learns. And my son has a Mercury in Cancer in the 12th house.
Have
So
you
that's
seen
another.
that come to life? That's an
So
interesting one.
yeah, so so I'm saying this moon as well kind of is triggered because this is a
Mhm,
Cancer Mercury. So this moon rules this Mercury. So I think it's very connected with how he feels
mhm,
everyday life. So the way environment, the way he perceives things, and everything is very deep and emotional. I'm more in my head. I'm all in my head. Like me and my husband are air fire, if you look at elements
mhm,
mostly.
mhm,
And
mhm.
we have this water child,
Yeah.
like with all this
Very watery.
very watery, right? So of course he probably came to our lives to teach us more empathy and kindness and just softness, and being aware of whatever, just to get out of our heads sometimes and be more in tune with how he feels. For me, as you mentioned, as I mentioned, my son and moon are in Gemini, in the same sign. Like I don't know, do I feel this way, or am I this way, or I think that, or Mercury is also. And I have Moon Mercury tight conjunction. Like
Mm,
for
mhm.
me, for me is everything. Like what I feel, what I think. I don't see the difference. So now I have this kid who actually feels different. He thinks or whatever. I don't know. It's just an interesting learning. So
Yeah,
how
and
about
also
you?
making sure that he is offered different outlets to
Yeah.
process his emotions because with Scorpio, I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart. It's like we
Mm-hmm.
can feel a whole lot and it manifests and it's really easy for things to fester with Scorpio, at least in my
Mm-hmm.
experience. So it's like, is it art? Is it
Mm-hmm.
writing that they just keep
Mm-hmm.
private? Is it a sport? Is it, yeah, what is it for them? Is it going outside for a walk? So being aware and allowing them to try different things and being like, how did that feel in your body? Did that feel nice? Did that feel good? All right,
Mm-hmm.
let's keep doing that and let that be their guide.
Yeah, so far he loves swimming the best. So
Of
no
course,
wonder. Yeah,
being in the
no,
water.
it's no wonder. Yeah, I mean, we tried to, a little bit of soccer and gymnastics and music class. Um, if he doesn't connect, like first of all, he needs time. What I learned, he needs time to connect with the teacher and the environment. So at least takes him three to four times to go somewhere to actually, okay, now I'm comfortable, now I'm gonna actually learn. So the first three, I just need to be patient, and he's still, yeah, for me, I'm like that right away. First class, what is teacher saying? And he's like, no, where am I? Who are these people? What is happening? Do I trust them? Like, what, like in that sense. So giving him the opportunity to be in the environment, but needs time.
Yeah.
Anyway, just a thought. How is your experience with your? I know she's still not. She's only two, but how is your experience with her Mercury? Did you explore that or not yet?
Yeah, I haven't really explored it yet. Her Mercury's in Pisces.
Hmm. That's very poetic, actually.
Yeah, yeah, she is, I'll say, very artistic already.
Hmm.
She, yeah, is just interested in the arts, and she learned how to speak pretty early on.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'm interested to see how it comes to life because it's the her Mercury in Pisces is completely the opposite in
Yeah.
terms of elements of most of the rest of her chart. So yeah, we'll
Hmm.
see how it comes into play. But I'm thankful that my husband, who's a Pisces, at least they'll have that in common to
Yeah,
be able
and her brother, younger brother. So it's a son, yeah, right, the baby. So her younger brother can also, there's a connection maybe with him through that. Maybe
yeah,
it's it's a different story. All these connections, it's beautiful,
yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
So I'll be the odd man out. But at least they have each other. And that's all that
No,
matters.
I bet that there's some synastry between all of you. There is some other connections,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
There's
there's
always
always,
there's
yeah,
always something.
yeah. You can say like the kids come to your life for a reason. Awesome.
Definitely.
So okay, so let's conclude this. What do you, in general, like, summary of everything? How is astrology helping you? Just summarize it in a few words. And what is your biggest take from being an astrologer and a parent?
That our children come into our lives for a reason.
Hmm.
They are meant to teach us something just as much as we are meant to teach them. And to really, astrology supports us in allowing them to be their most full, authentic, true selves. And I'm going to continue to lean into it to support my two kids.
That's beautiful. Oh, I love
What
it.
about you?
I first of all, I agree. For me, it's I can also say it's very practical. Like, I really feel that this knowledge is very practical. Like, literally, when my kid says, "Mommy, stop talking," that I know. Oh, I understand why, and I don't feel frustrated, or I don't feel as a bad parent. And I can justify through experience with my clients and everybody. It doesn't matter. It's never too late to understand your kid, even if your kid is an adult and you have some issues and troubles within your relationship. Uh, it's good to seek some guidance. It can help you with your relationships for sure. So it can be very practical. In
Definitely.
everyday life, I feel that just understand, just going from the moon. I don't even don't even think, just understanding the one celestial body. It can give you so much insights. It can help you so much. Eating habits. Moon is also about eating habits. Does he like sweets, or looking at aspects of the planets? Does he like this? What is going to be picky? Not why? What kind of it's just very, very interesting.
It's an
So yeah,
instruction manual. People think, oh,
yeah,
a lot of people
yeah,
think that astrology is just like woo woo, but
yeah.
it's an instruction manual. And
I love it.
why not use it?
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna quote you on this. This is an instructional manual, guys. I love it.
Yes.
My practical burglarizing is like thriving now. That's what it is. It's just literally instructional manual. I love it. Yes. I appreciate your time and your insights and your share. Thank you for sharing your experience. All the best with parenting. I know it's a hard job as is, so I really, really wish you all the best, and for your kids to. They're lucky to have a mom who knows astrology for sure. So I don't know much about you, but I know that much, and that's more than enough for them to be happy to have a mom who is aware of and wants to understand them, and not just many parents just because copy paste from the past and we just put on. So
Yeah.
it's time to stop that. That would be my
Yes.
other message. Absolutely.
Thank you
So
so
before
much.
we you're welcome. Before we wrap up, please tell everybody who is listening, where can they find you and what are your current offerings?
Oh, yes. You can find me on Instagram through Lightspace Collective, and I'm currently accepting clients for one-on-one consultations.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you very much. And until the next time, bye bye.
Bye.
Happy parenting, everybody.